Yes, hello, my dear learners. I hope you are very fine this morning. This is still Mr. Joseph Otenge Baraza, a teacher from St. Thomas Primary in Kilifi County, ready to take you through with social studies. Today, in our lesson, we are going to discuss about the political developments and the systems. When we talk about the political developments and the systems, we going to really to concentrate in traditional forms of the government. This means that before the colonization, before the colonies came to Africa, the Africans had their own type of governance. Now, traditionally, as I repeat, before the coming of the Europeans to colonize Africa, there were the only forms in which Africans used to govern themselves. And these are the forms that we are going to discuss today in our lesson. Please take your notebook and a pen so that we can jot down the main points. Now, the first one was where the system of the government had a single person. And when we talk about a single person, a community, different communities could be ruled. They were ruled by a single person. That person could be a king or a chief. When we talk about the king, those communities that were governed by a single person, that was being ruled by a single person, maybe a king, that community was referred to as a kingdom. And that community that was ruled or governed by a single person, and that single person being a chief, that community was referred to as chiefdoms. Down the line, we are going to come later and discuss which communities in Africa were belonging to the kingdoms and which one were referred to as chiefdoms. Now, that was one. But if you see, if I take you back to these communities that were governed by the single person, either the chief or the king, these are the communities. Please jot down. We have some of the examples. We have the Buganda kingdom, which was governed by the king. We have also the Toro, we have the Bunyoro, we have the Ankole, and all the communities I've named, those are the communities from Uganda. Also, we have the Wanga in Kenya, and we have the Chaga and the Wanyamwezi in Tanzania. Long time ago, it was known as Tanganyika. Now, that one is the first set. The first set in which the traditional people used to govern themselves. It was the one that I've highlighted there. They are the one which is being governed by a single person, either chief or a king. The second set, this one is where now a group of people formed a council of elders which regulate the activities of the community. And the best community, or the best example here in Kenya, we had a Meru community, which were ruled by the council of elders. They had their special title, which was referred as the Njuri Cheki. We shall not waste time. I have highlighted to you, I have explained for you how the Africans used to govern themselves, and it is only two ways. One, I've told you that they were governed by single personnel. This one, either the king or the chief. And I've told you, those communities that were governed by the kings, it was referred to as kingdoms. And those communities that were governed by the chiefs, they were referred to as chiefdoms. 2. The form of the government that we had. The group of the people comes together, they form their council, especially the elders come together and they form their council so that they can regulate, solve some disputes, solve some wrangles in a community. Like the best example that I've given you, like here in Kenya, even in Africa, because Kenya is found in Africa, they were the Ameru community and they had their title which was referred to as the Njuri Cheke. Now, I would like to take you through the Meru community. The Meru people live around Mount Kenya in Eastern Province. They are made up of the clans, and each clan was ruled by the council of elders called the Kiama. Remember, every community has a clan, and every clan in that community must be having a leader. So for the Meru which was ruled by the council of elders titled as the Njuri Cheke, this community was subdivided into clans, and each clan was ruled by a leader. And a leader that I've told you, please, can you please jot down? The community, these clans in this community of the Meru, they were ruled by the leaders which were referred to as the Kiama. Please write down. We have the Kiama. The Kiama are the leaders of the clans among the Ameru. The head of the clan was called also Mugambi. The head of the clan was called Mugambi. Remember, the clan was having the council of the elders, and the council of the elders in this clan, it is the Kiama. But among that council, we have a leader. We have the head. It was referred as the Mugambi. We don't want to talk much about it. Like how we have to highlight the function of the Kiama. The Kiama, being the council of elders among the Ameru, they had to play a big role. And these are the following. 1, they settled disputes between the members of different families. Remember, the families, they might have quarrels, they might have wrangles. So the only people who can solve these disputes, they were the council of elders among that clan. And the council of the clan among the Ameru, they were referred as the Kiama. So the Kiama has to settle disputes among the families within their clan. Apart from that one, we also have another role of the Kiama. The Kiama distributed land to the clan members. The Kiama distributed land to the members of the clan. That one is the function of the Kiama. I will take you also through about the function of the Njuri Cheke as the council of elders among now all the community. Remember, community is made up of the families, the clans, and now the clans and the communities the clans and the families are within this community. So, as I said, that the Ameru had a form of the government which was ruled by the council of elders known as the Njuri Cheke. Njuri Cheke has its own special functions to play in the community. One of the functions of the Njuri Cheke was to settle disputes among different clans. Remember now, we have discussed about the clans. The clans had the council of elders called the Kiama. And the Kiama had their own leader, which was called Mugambi. Now, after maybe the clans are having wrangles, remember they can have wrangles about the territory, the boundaries, the land boundaries. So the only people who could solve these disputes, it was now the Njuri Cheke to come in and solve the dispute among the different clans. Second function of the Njuri Cheke also could punish the lawbreakers, as currently we have the police. Like now we have the judiciary. The judiciary are the one who punishes the lawbreakers. But long time ago, before the colonization, the Ameru community had their own way of solving disputes. So they could punish the lawbreakers. That's the second function of the Njuri Cheke. The third function was also promoting unity among the various Ameru clans. They were the one to preach the unity. They were the one to advocate the unity among their communities in different clans. Also, the Njuri Cheke could organize, and also they could perform the rituals, and they could also organize and also lead the religious ceremonies. Apart from that, the Njuri Cheke could uphold and passing traditional customs of the Ameru that they want to uphold and also to pass. Remember, different communities, they have different way of life, as we say, culture, because culture is the way of life. Apart from that one, we have also giving permission for the warriors to go to the war. They are the one who could start the war and also end the war. If there is a wrangles, before the warriors decide to go and also start the war, they are the one to decide for them. And if they want to end the war, they are the one to tell the warriors, please, our warriors, let us now end the war. So that was also the role of the Njuri Cheke, that they want to give permission to start the war and also to end the war. Last but not least, training the army, that the one who could train the army. When we talk about the army now, we now just talk about the warriors. We talk about the warriors. They are the one who are responsible to train these warriors. Now, having done with Ameru, please let us go ahead and we discuss about the Abawanga. As I told you that Abawanga, these are found now in Western Province. They are the sub-tribe of the Luya. Abawanga is a sub-tribe of the Luya. The Abawanga people live in Western Kenya. Remember, it was a powerful kingdom. And when we talk about kingdom, this is now, forget about the Council of Elders that we have discussed about the Njuri Cheke. Here now, the kingdom has been made. That word kingdom has been made with two words, king and now dom. The king. This means the community was headed by the king. It was ruled by the king. Now, remember that Bawanga had its special name for their kings. The king's title was referred as the Nabongo. It was referred as the Nabongo. Now, the Bawanga had very many Nabongos, but because we have the only one who did it powerfully, that's why it was now recorded in the history, and that's Nabongo Mumia. Nabongo Mumia. Please learners, can you write down that the Abawanga community was under kingdoms? They can ask you that which of the following communities are under kingdoms? Abawanga is one of them. And remember, For the class 5 learner who is listening to me, remember class 5 deals with Kenya, and Abawanga are found in Kenya. So Abawanga is one of the community which belongs to the kingdom. And now, Nabongo Mumia. Nabongo Mumia, even we shall discuss when we come to what we call the early visitors to Africa. That's in class 7. But in class 6, we can also say the early visitors in Eastern Africa. The Bawanga, this is Nabongo Mumia, the king of the Bawanga, is the one who welcomed the British. He collaborated. When I say like that, he welcomed, he collaborated with them, and he's the one also, even he was an influential even to the Uganda, because the Nabongo was a regional officer in eastern region of Uganda. But because we want just to concentrate in the traditional forms of the government, we don't want to go again to the early visitors. Nabongo Mumia was a successful king because he made friends with the foreigners or with the foreigners. That's why I told you that he welcomed the British. He collaborated with the British. 2, he was given arms by the British and the Arab trade. That's why he was successful. 3, he assured that his people were united, and so they could not be attacked by the neighboring communities. Remember, the Abawanga, they were having the enemies. The Bukusu. The Bukusu were the enemies of the Abawanga. So the Nabongo Mumia made sure that his community was well protected. Lastly, he was very wealthier. Therefore, he could hire people from neighboring communities to protect the kingdom. So that one was about just the Abawanga community, how they used to govern themselves. And to summarize it, the Bawanga community, the sub-tribe of the Luya, which is being found in the western part of the province in Kenya, was ruled by the kings. Then it means it is a kingdom. Lastly, the title, it was referred to as Nabongo. They will ask you a question. The title of the kings among the Bawanga was referred to as, please my dear Lana, note down, that the title of the Bawanga kings, it was referred to as Nabongo. Don't take Nabongo Mumia. Take just Nabongo. So we are done with the Bawanga. Let us now go through with the Buganda. The Buganda, remember also the Buganda was a kingdom. When you talk about the kingdom, these are the communities that are ruled by the kings. As we have discussed right now, the Bawanga, they were ruled by the kings. And the kings, their titles were referred to as the Nabongo. So let us now discuss about the Buganda. We shall see the title of their kings. How did they govern themselves? How was the kingdom in general? In boundaries, like did they had enemies? Like the way the Bawanga had the enemy of their enemies as the Bukusu. Now, the Buganda kingdom was one of the kingdom in the present Uganda. As I repeat, the Buganda kingdom was one of the kingdom in the present Uganda. When you talk about one of the kingdom, it means Uganda also had some kingdoms. So other kingdoms were the Bunyoro, Acholi, and the Langi. That's whereby we are going to come and we discuss about the Bunyoro Kitara. We shall discuss about the Bunyoro Kitara. How was it? But now we want just to concentrate with the Buganda kingdom. The Buganda kingdom, they were ruled by the kings. And the title for the kings, they were referred to as the Kabaka. Note down that the title of the kings in Buganda kingdom, it was referred to as the Kabaka. Remember, this community was very large, very powerful. Very, very, very powerful and very large. The kingdom was subdivided into units called, as we come from the head, we had a king there. You come down, we have a Saza. The Saza was a county. So it was divided into counties. And the county was divided into sub-counties. And the sub-counties were divided into divisions. And we come down up until to the village, where we shall be having the elders of the village, called the Batakans. The Bataka. So this is now the system of the government among the Buganda kingdom. It had a central government headed by the hereditary king called the Kabaka. When we talk about hereditary, it means that the kingship was passed from the father to the son. When the father dies, the son has to take over. It depends with an agreement with other communities. It might be even the case, because somebody will ask me, what about when the father has no son? Who will take over when he dies? So it depends with the agreement of that community. So when the father dies, the son will take over the throne. That's what is meant by the term hereditary. So the system of the government among the Buganda kingdom, it was hereditary. That one now, the Kabaka, the king. When the Kabaka dies, the son has to take over. Apart from that one, Buganda had a traditional parliament. They had their own parliament, the way Kenya has right now. We have two. We have the National Assembly and we have the Senate. But for the Buganda, they had their own parliament. And the parliament was referred as the Lukiko. Please note down that the parliament among the Buganda is referred to as the Lukiko. Because that question can come. They ask which of the following words among the Buganda kingdom is correctly marked with its title. So the parliament among the Buganda kingdom, it was referred to as the Lukiko. And I've told you also the king or the Kabaka. The king among the Buganda kingdom, it was referred to as the Kabaka. And we shall come and discuss about the function of the Kabaka. And remember, all kings, they are the command of the armed forces. Now, we have talked about the Lukiko. All clans were represented on the Lukiko. All the clans. It means that every clan had its own leader. So they had to come to the parliament and they discussed the matters. So we have the Lukiko there as a parliament among the Buganda kingdom. The third point, note down. The kingdom had several clans and each headed by a leader called Bataka. So now we have also come now with another new word, the Bataka. Underline the word Bataka. The Bataka were now the leaders among the clans. The clan leaders among the Buganda kingdom. The clan leaders among the Buganda kingdom, they were referred to as the Bataka. These Bataka, they were now be able to take or to report or to give the grievances of their clans to the king when they now represent them in the parliament. When you talk about the parliament, please note down that the parliament was referred to as the Lukiko. Now, having almost we want to do it, to be done with this Uganda kingdom, but there's a certain important